how heartbreaking it must be to long for a place that cannot be returned to. Though he was once a king, he was no longer allowed to be one. Just a boy at the age of 17. He was stripped of everything and exiled to the lonely isle of Cheongnyeongpo in Yeongwol. Unable to fully express his sorrow in words, he entrusted his grief to the cry of the Jagyu. The cuckoo that weaves through the night, a bird-like lament. He poured his longing to return and the anguish of never being able to do so. Thus was written the Cuckoo Poem, Jagyu-si. Today, we will reflect on the Cuckoo Poem, left by King Danjong, and feel the profound sorrow of a young king. Jagyu, it is often cited in poetry as a symbol of longing names. It is related to the legend of Mangje of the Chok state. Mangje, a king who wishes to return. This is origin myth of the Chok kingdom about King Du. He appointed Byeolleung-shin to manage the flood, and after successfully controlling the water, the Byeolleung-shin seized public sentiment and power, driving Du away and taking the throne. Whether it was a political exile or an ethical tragedy, the exiled Du mourned this situation, never to return, and died. The tears he shed in his grievance turned into 철쭉꽃, azalea, and his soul became a cuckoo that cries like his weeping blood. King Danjong, realizing his fate in exile, immediately composed a poem close to his death, impromptu poetry, during his exile. Now, let us begin with the first line. 월백야. On a moonlit night, Chok Konje, the soul of Chok cries. This phrase sets the emotional tone for the entire poem. Night is a time when all others are asleep, a still and silent hour. And it is precisely because of this silence that one finds oneself awake, alone. In such a moment, loneliness and solitude become all the more vivid. It is a light that reveals what one wishes to hide. And the more one tries to conceal it, the more sharply it is exposed. Thus, rather than a light of hope, it is a light that sharply illuminates a tragic reality. It signifies that the cuckoo, believed to be the transformed soul of the king of Cho, is crying. It is not a soft or pleasant sound. In the stillness of the night, its sharp, repetitive call can feel almost chilling. For this reason, since ancient times, this cry, so full of sorrow, has been used as a symbol of grief. Listening to this relentless cry on a cold, moonlit night, King Danjong feels that the sound mirrors his own condition. The story goes that King Du-u of Cho, driven from his throne, wept until he coughed up blood and died, only to be transformed into a cuckoo. To Danjong, this fate is no different from his own. He too was cast out by his uncle and confined to Cheongnyeongpo in Yeongwol. Thus, this night does not conceal his pitiful condition. Rather, it makes him see it with stark clarity. 함수 정갱다. As sorrow is held in, the feeling grows ever deeper. On this quiet night, the cuckoo is crying. Hearing its cry, the mind cannot remain still. One tries to endure, to hold it down by force. But the more it is suppressed, the deeper it becomes. Even when the sorrow has been held at bay, the cuckoo's cry stirs the sorrow again. Each time it is stirred, the sadness layers itself, building up one layer upon another, until it feels as though it could overflow, and yet it does not. 이재종일야. You cry on day and night. It does not simply indicate a long duration of time. It points to a structure of time from which one cannot escape. This sorrow does not pass by once and fade. It continues through the night into day, repeating without end, unbroken. So, the cry of the cuckoo, day and night, never lets me go. Sorrow is no longer just a passing feeling. It has become a state, one that repeats endlessly. Now, it is no longer that one weeps because of sorrow, but rather that the suppressed sorrow is continually stirred, forcing one to weep again and again. It's not that Danjong is without sorrow. He is trying to endure it, to overcome it by holding it in. but that incessant cry of the cuckoo keeps stirring his heart, making it impossible to bear. And yet, the poet does not let it burst. 수인 내 이하. What can a sorrowful man do about you? A person who endures and suppresses his grief. He is not one who is swept away by sorrow, but one who struggles to hold it together, to keep it under control. And yet, the cry of the cuckoo is simply unbearable. The more he tries to endure, the deeper his sorrow grows. If he could thoroughly cut off this sorrow, what would it matter whether that cuckoo cries or not? But since he cannot even master his own grief, how could he possibly silence the cry of the bird? In the end, the cuckoo's cry is both an external sound and the very sorrow he is enduring within. The cry is no longer outside, it has become his own. The boundary between outside and inside collapses. He tries to restrain it, yet cannot fully control it. So, how can I deal with this? What can I do about you? How should I deal with you? It expresses a quiet despair, a hopeless and inescapable sorrow. And yet, the poet never cries out in anguish. It must simply be accepted. There is nothing left but to endure. It is indeed a deeply restrained elegy. This concludes our reading of Jagyu-si. What do you think? Does the sorrow of this young king not move your heart? Based on this interpretation, I invite you to reflect on the poem once more in your own way. Now, let us conclude with a full recitation. The Cuckoo Poem, Jagyu-si. On a moonlit night, the cuckoo, the soul of an exiled king, seems to echo within it. The more I endure it, the deeper it grows. You cry on day and night without cease. But what can a sorrowful man possibly do about you? Next, I will introduce two pieces titled Jagyu-si, composed by later scholars who mourn the death of King Danjong. Through these works, we will see how the young king sought to sublimate his sorrow. This has been Haein Academy.